Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming up this week, Disney Cruise Line announces their summer 2020 sailings. Disney has also released a lot of new information on Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. We're going to talk to someone who's actually had a chance to see it. And two new hotels have become official hotels of Walt Disney World. And a little later on, we're going to discuss everything we know about Disney's Skyliner. All that coming up next. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Diz Unplugged. This is the Diz Unplugged, episode 1024 for the week of March 5th, 2019. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio here in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends, Charles Boda.
Hey, folks.
Corey Fiascanaro.
Hey there.
Rhino Clavin.
Hello.
Julie Martin.
Happy Mardi Gras, y'all.
Happy Mardi Gras, yeah, really. And back in the production nook, our producer, Mr. Craig Williams.
Hello.
Now, welcome, everybody. I hope you are having a good week. My week is off to a pretty good start. I get to do this for a living. How can it be anything else? Just a couple things I want to mention in housekeeping. Number one, John and Kevin are on vacation. They went away for John's birthday, which was a couple weeks ago, and they're in Europe right now, and he's been... they've both been posting lots of stuff from their trip on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm going to make sure that Craig puts in the show notes links to their Twitter and Instagram. Oh, John in particular, always posting something funny. That sense of humor really translates well into that medium. So you can go ahead and follow along on their adventures on social media. Also want to give a shout out to our newest site sponsor, the Magic Candle Company. What we decided to do every month, I'm going to pick my fragrance of the month. So for March, the one I am burning like crazy is burning in the studio right now. Mouse Waffles. It is so good. It is so good. I like those, the warm, bakery type fragrances. I just think they make the house feel warmer and more homey. But I also tell you, because I just got another, I don't know, God knows how many hundreds of dollars I spent of candles. I've tried Contemporary for the first time.
Oh, yes.
They nailed that fragrance perfectly. And it's unusual that is a fragrance that it's a lighter fragrance. Obviously, it's not that, warm, deep fragrance. And I find that lighter fragrances normally won't fill a room. Not the case with Contemporary. Boy, it fills a room. So head over to magiccandlecompany.com, code DisneyInfo. Get you 15% off your next order. Also want to shout out to Disboards in general, because, it occurs to me I don't give my boards a lot of love on these shows, and that's going to change. I really want to do more of that. But in particular, I made a promise that we give out a shout out to our UK boards and our UK community boards. Phenomenal group of folks over there sharing information that is really pertinent to people who travel here from the UK. And while some things are the same, there are a lot of considerations and a lot of things that are not. And it's always been a phenomenal community over there. Lots of good stuff over on the UK boards. So you head over to disboards.com, and we have a section called Global Neighbors, where all those forums are. So go check those out, please. And that's pretty much, I think right now, everything I have. I think.
Mm-hmm. I got
something. Okay, go ahead. Maybe I'll remember what I'm forgetting.
So last week, when we were talking about contributors, and
That's what I was forgetting.
oh,
Thank you.
okay. Well, I'll let Pete describe what we're looking for with new articles and everything like that. But the link that I gave, I kind of confused it with the email address that we have. So if you're interested in contributing, which I highly recommend you do, it is completely awesome and fun, and I'm more than happy to work with you as you go about the process to pick stuff up. The link that you want to go to is wdwinfo.com/diz-contributors. And I'd said wdwinfo.com/contributors, left out the diz part of it. So once again, wdwinfo.com/diz, D-I-S, -contributors. And that'll give you a list of guidelines and everything like that to look at. And the form you fill out at the bottom is where you get the ball rolling and get everything started. So we're happy to get plenty more contributors in. And it's a wonderful experience. And
If you do say so yourself.
if I do say so myself. But yeah, that's where you want to go to get started, and then you'll get prompts from then on. So sorry about giving that wrong one. I've gotten a bunch of emails and tweets and stuff like that all over for people who did not.
You failed.
I failed you, and that's how I would like to get my relationships off. Well, when working with you, I like to start out with a failure and then build up from there. That's how my dating career's gone. It's pretty much how I live my life. Is just start out
with low expectations.
Start out with a good, solid fail. Apologize from the bottom of my heart. And let people know that that's how things are going to be working from here on out. So.
If you are interested in being a contributor right now, articles on Disney Vacation Club, Disney Cruise Line, and dining are the ones we are most looking for. So if you have some experience in any of those or all of those areas, please sign up to be a contributor. We pay $25 for every article that we publish via PayPal. So it's a nice way to make a little extra spending money on your next vacation. So thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, and I just want to mention our Patreon site, too, again. It's our membership. If you're not familiar with Patreon, it's a membership platform that you can,
Well said.
well, I can't remember the word
you having
to
a
give
stroke?
money. Like, you can sign up for this, and you receive exclusive content from the Diz, like behind-the-scenes photos or...
but most importantly,
the big thing right now is Pete has been doing, and forever and always is Pete, and period, end of sentence, new sentence. Pete has also decided to do a solo show exclusively for Patreon, and I don't mean like one solo show, I mean a series of solo shows. So there is a third one that has gone up now,
and the fourth one's done.
Yeah, so that is, if you are in the $10 and up tier, you'll get access to that. And this is sort of a service you can do it. You can do a one-time payment, you can do a recurring payment, but he's been just firing these shows out like crazy.
Well, I finally found the format that was sustainable for me to do.
Yeah.
And doing almost diary style, just kind of talking about what's going on during the course of a week, and some of it's personal, some of it's not.
Well, I think what's really cool about it is, for me, when I heard it, it reminds me of like a director's commentary on a movie. So you guys out there, you watch or listen and you consume all this content, but then when you'll get this, the diary will get published, or the solo show will get published after sort of some of the content he's talking about has been made, so you can kind of go back and see like the train of thought that went into what you ended up getting.
It's psychosis.
Yeah,
it's almost like a reality show confessional.
Yeah, it is. I guess it could be that. I try not to make it quite that dramatic, but
well, I've listened to them.
I'm having a blast. I'm having a blast doing it.
And people are genuine. Like, I'm not just saying it. Like, people are enjoying it. They really do like this diary format, which is cool. So it like I already said the reason why. But there's other content you can get, early access to vlogs and stuff like that, and kind of whatever we come up with.
And
as we
we've
go.
got some. Rhino's working on some cool stuff. We got some cool ideas for Patreon. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for mentioning that. Before we go to the news, I do want to welcome Corey Fiascanaro to the table. You've probably seen Corey in a couple of videos. He's been doing some freelance work with us, and we're getting to be friends. And he actually is a vet. He served 4 years right? 4 years in the Navy.
4 years in the U.S. Navy. Yep, I was stationed out of Coronado Island on the USS Ronald Reagan, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here.
It's awesome to have you. It's awesome to have you. We'll be seeing more of Corey. We had a situation today, and I really appreciate you on the last minute being able to be here because we had a situation today where John and Kevin are on vacation. Steve Porter had a commitment to do one of his experiences that someone bid on when we did our fundraiser. So he had to do that today. Kathy and Teresa are Dreams agents, and Disney released 2020 cruises or 2020 summer cruises. So they have to be tethered to their computer, taking care of their clients. So we were short. We were like, that's like 5 people that normally are available that I don't have available. So Corey stepped up at the last minute and agreed to join us. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
All right. Anything else? Nothing. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about those 2020 cruises. Disney Cruise Line released the summer 2020 itineraries. It's always a big deal when the new itineraries come out. The big deal really this time that they were going back to Greece. It's been about, 5 or 6 years, I think, since they've done the Greece itineraries. And that is also where we are seeing some of the most outrageously high prices I've ever seen. For the first time ever, yesterday, Dreams quoted a client a 6-figure quote for a cruise. The Royal Suite on the 12-night sailing to Greece came in at $106,000. So now, obviously, that's on the extreme end. But yesterday, actually, I meant to mention that we did our first Disney Cruise Line show. We did it live yesterday, and we talked about all of these things. So I'm not going to go into too much detail here. You can go check out that show. But the Greece cruises and the Adventures by Disney add-ons now for the Caribbean cruises is also a pretty big deal. Those are major changes to 2020, and there seems to be a lot of interest. I mean, it's been nuts. It's been nuts.
When Corey saw that they were going to be heading back to Greece, he was like, "We have to go." He's like, "Let's take the kids and go."
Then did he price them out? Did he price
Not yet.
Because you're talking on some of those sailings, inside staterooms. Inside staterooms costing $12,000.
It's insanity.
Now, what we are noticing though is it seems that, and I was looking at our Disney Cruise Line forum about what their comments were regarding these, and people are seeing the same thing I saw. It looks like the 7-night Mediterranean cruises out of Barcelona look more reasonable. That there's not a major change in the pricing, and as somebody on that thread pointed out, I think we've just become desensitized to the price points of those, and that now that looks reasonable. And look, for the quality, we can get into all that, the quality of the experience, the quality of the ships, all that good stuff. It's the entertainment. It's worth it. It is worth it, but like. And there was some sailing. There was a sailing out of Dover, England, that I was surprised how reasonable that sailing was. It was reasonable. It was the price of a Caribbean cruise. Going out of Dover, England, going to some really interesting ports. That's what I'm still thinking. I should probably book it. Well,
Call Teresa.
Yeah, really. I have no shortage of agents to do that for me. But a lot of interesting stuff. Like I said, check out our cruise line show from yesterday. Craig will put a link to that in the show notes page. But that's on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/DizUnplugged. And, of course, I'll go ahead and make the plug for DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com. They're more than happy to book your cruise, and we do the shipboard credit up to $1,000 depending on your sailing. And we send everybody that sails out, if you're a U.S. resident, we send everybody a really nice gift basket before you sail with stuff you're going to need for your cruise. And we actually have a video going up eventually showing you everything that's in that. So, all right, enough of the plugs. Let's talk about Star Wars. out of left field last week, Disney dumped more information, I think, in that announcement than we've heard since this was announced about what's coming to Galaxy's Edge. Now, I could sit here and tell you all the things that Disney released, but it would be much better if we talked to someone who actually got to go in and see it. So I'm very happy we're joined by Carlye Wisel. She's a freelance writer, and she covered this for Travel and Leisure magazine. She is also inexplicably a friend of Craig Williams. So there's a disconnect for me here, but we won't hold that against you, Carlye. So now you were under embargo with this information for how long?
About a week.
Okay. So you got to go in. Tell us what you saw.
So we saw it completely in a state of construction. I mean, we had safety goggles on, vests, helmets, boots, the whole deal. So we got to look at it kind of from a not yet done perspective, but you can still tell the amount of effort that went into it and how they really, the thing I keep saying is that they really did not, they did not mess this up. They went for it, and I think they really hit a very high mark with Galaxy's Edge.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes me feel good. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of hype going into this right now. And
of course.
I keep feeling like with the amount of hype, is there anything they could possibly do that's going to deliver the goods? But you're saying that it looks like they have.
From everything we've experienced, which is kind of a lot, I mean, they really showed us, to me, an unprecedented amount of things to deliver as news over the past week. And every single thing, they put so much effort in. And when you're there, you really feel like you're on a different planet. I would say much more so than even with Pandora.
Wow. So tell me some of the things you got to see.
So we got to walk the queues for both attractions, and then we got to walk through all of the areas of Black Spire Outpost, which is that main marketplace center with the cantina and Docking Bay 7 and all of the shops.
What are you doing?
My coaster
Dropping
fell off
coasters.
the bottom of my cup. Sorry.
I apologize, Carlye. Can't take
It's fine. I'm used to it with Rhino.
They released a lot of details. Did they let you try? I mean, they released a lot of details on the food and the drinks. Did they have any of that for you?
Yes, we did get to do a tasting of a lot of the food, actually, and most of the non-alcoholic drinks.
And so, got Oga's Cantina, which has the alcoholic drinks. The non-alcoholic drinks, the Black Spire Brew, the Blue Bantha, the Carbon Freeze, Cliff Dweller, which is also what we call Rhino, Hyperdrive Punch It, Jabba Juice, Mugen Tea, Tareen Tea, and Cantina Mix. And now they let you try all of those, or were there select ones?
So we tried a lot of the juice beverages that will be sold throughout the land. So there are different drinks that will be sold at Docking Bay 7 and I believe at Ronto Roasters as well. We didn't taste most of the non-alcoholic drinks at Oga's Cantina, but we tasted one or two. Most of them are kind of multi-layered juice concoctions, is the best way to explain it.
And ridiculously sweet, I imagine.
Yes, but I found it was so interesting that among all of the food and drink, they snuck spices into everything. So in the Ronto Roaster sandwich, the Ronto wrap, they put in some Szechuan peppercorn. In one of the drinks that's more of a pineapple juice, they put in some spice so that it tastes a little more, I don't know, it has more depth. There's all these little spices that are hiding in everything, which, Disney doesn't usually do because people get a little scared.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, they do tend to homogenize. I think in recent years they've moved more in a direction of taking risks. That's especially true out in Disneyland. But what about the food items? What did you get to try?
So we got to try the smoked Kadu ribs, which is supposed to be the creature that Jar Jar Binks rode. You just gnaw on his ribs.
Okay.
It is a pork rib. So, but the interesting thing is that they cut it like you would regularly cut ribs, and then they cut it the other direction. so that it has more of an alien look to it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
and these are Smoke Country sticky pork ribs, and it comes with a blueberry corn muffin and a cabbage slaw.
Yes, and in that blueberry corn muffin, again, is a little bit of cayenne to give it a little bit of spice that you would not expect.
Wow.
Yeah. I like that it's familiar, but like they're doing just enough to make it seem a little more exotic, you know?
Yes, like I was fully going in expecting, I don't know, like packets of astronaut food. I really didn't know what they would be making. And I think they really hit this sweet spot between food that a regular Disney audience will be okay with, and also things that go above and beyond that they can kind of find their way into and not be too spooked by.
What else did you get to try?
What else did we try? We tried this, which I don't think a lot of people have written about. We tried this mix that's going to be available at the Cantina. It's kind of like what would be a pub mix, but it has a lot of prawn chips and seaweed crackers and wasabi peas, which I was very excited about.
Oh, you like the spicy stuff, don't you?
I know, I do.
Yes, I can.
But then, I mean, the thing that I keep raving about are the desserts, which there are no names for, so they might have fallen out of some of the coverage. But both of them are done by the same chef who did Amorette's Patisserie and the Ganachery at Disney Springs.
Oh, wow.
So they are very elegant and very high-end, wonderful desserts.
I'm seeing, is this the raspberry cream puff with passion fruit mousse, the chocolate cake with white chocolate mousse and coffee custard?
Yes, the chocolate one is more like, it's an orb, so it is slightly reminiscent of the desserts at Satuli, but it's not exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say it's different enough to feel like a different experience. And that raspberry cream puff, I cannot wait to eat it again. I ate the whole thing. It was like 10:30 in the morning. I was in a sugar coma. It was so good.
What I'm curious, like, what was the best thing that you had other than that raspberry cream puff where you're like, I can't wait to this open and eat this again? Did you have something like that?
I mean, we ate a few of the entrees. I believe we had the yob shrimp. We had the coddy ribs, which I really liked. We had the Ronto wrap, which someone called it a space hot dog sandwich, which I feel like is a very good explanation.
Interesting.
I dug that, but the thing that I walked away from that I can't stop yelling about is this green raspberry dessert that was crazy. It was crazy. It was so good.
Wow. Now, obviously, food is very important, especially for us. We love the food. But one of the questions I have, now I realize it's under construction, so it's really hard to gauge. How well do you think this area is going to absorb its crowds?
Okay, so that was also my main concern. As I'm sure you guys have seen in a lot of the coverage, a lot of the operational questions were not answered because this was mostly on giving us the details, the names, the audio animatronics, that type of info. But it was much more spread out than I anticipated. Because those walkways, as you've seen in the model, you can't really gauge how big they are.
Right, that's it.
And I really think that a lot of the main space of the land is going to eat more people than a lot of us were expecting.
From your lips to God's ears, because I mean the memes, like the most recent meme I saw was somebody at the Welcome to Florida sign. And then there was another sign next to it that says Galaxy's Edge line starts here.
Yeah.
I saw that one.
And because, this is, if they are able to come up with a way where that can absorb its crowds and you don't feel like you want to kill yourself 10 minutes after walking in. And, what we're hearing about, I don't know how much they went into the attractions with. You obviously got to walk the queues. I guess you didn't get to see any mock-ups of these two new attractions coming in.
Well, we got to go into the Millennium Falcon cockpit. So we got to do that without actually riding the ride. We got to experience as much of that attraction as possible.
And that's, and from everything we're hearing about the attractions, that they have just completely blown the doors off with what they've done here. Like the Millennium Falcon attraction is actually like participatory.
Yeah, there's like 100 different switches that you can do, and it affects how the outcome of the ride goes. I read something where they said you could probably even fail the mission if you're not good enough at flipping the switches or something? I don't know if they talked about that.
So you can't fail. I know that was messaging that was kind of out maybe 1 or 2 months ago, but you can't fail, but there appears to be a spectrum of how well you can do. And it seems like even if you do brilliantly, because it is teamwork between 6 people in that cockpit, you're still going to take a hit regardless. So the Falcon's going to be struggling. It just depends what degree of that will happen.
What was it like the cues for the ride? I know we've seen, you know, they released that teaser and they're like, all this was filmed in the ride. Was it like you go in and you're like, I am inside, you know, this first order base. I'm going into the Millennium Falcon. Is it just like it, you know, like there's a photo that we have up on the screen if you're watching that is just this corridor straight out of the movie, you know? Did you feel like that when you're going through? You're just
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, because my job as a journalist is to really critique Disney and what they're doing. But when they do something well, I feel like I have to sing their praises. And they knew that they were going to get an audience for this opening that was so specific and expecting such a high caliber of attraction that they really imagineered for that level of fan. So even myself, who's a pretty casual Star Wars fan, I went and like, I am all in now. I am all in, and I did not expect to be. And it was, someone said it was like a religious experience, and I kind of feel that. Like, it was great. They designed the rides to feel like you are in your own movie, and it shows.
That's cool.
I'm.
I have more questions. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go right ahead.
I'll take over, Pete. So, did you guys get to see any of the merchandise in person? Because I saw that they released some photos of that. Okay.
We did. We saw what they said was a fifth of the merchandise.
Oh, okay. Because what I'm finding really interesting is that how they have not just like the build your droids or the build the lightsaber experience that is kind of returning, I'm sure updated to fit this land better than the original version of it, but their fashion line they've like created for this entire land. So that was the big thing when they revealed the costumes, is that I thought they were all very cool looking, and they definitely, when you look at them, you're like, yeah, that person's from Star Wars. But now you yourself can pretty much buy these clothes and wear them. Did you get to see any of that stuff?
Oh my God, he's showing up. He's showing up for a show, and
here's what's
question.
What's very interesting is that we saw a lot of garments that are for sale as merchandise that we still do not know if you can wear to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge or not. I think that information will probably be coming out soon. I personally have an email out fact-checking, like, can you wear this cloak? Can you wear this?
Can you look like a Jedi? Yeah.
Yes, and that's something that unfortunately was not answered yet, but we will know soon. But the stuff that they're selling, I saw it up close, and it's really good.
Did you see any of the lightsabers?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because the photo here that we have of these lightsabers, like there's one specifically of these, like Craig's got it on the screen right now.
Yes.
It looks like, look close, it looks more like polished metal. And I right before they closed it, I did the lightsaber experience that was in the like back where the backlot tour was. They used to have that Star Wars area that was dedicated to it here at Hollywood Studios. And, mine looks like, Target, a toy, like a plastic. But the ones in these photos, like, that looks like metal. And it looks more polished and nice. Like, is that experience going to be different? Are they upping it more?
Okay, I'm just saying this. I'm not going to be impressed with a lightsaber until I can cut someone in half with it. Just saying.
A lightsaber cheese knife.
Yeah, really.
Oh my God! Now I just want to throw like a fancy picnic with lightsabers. But but yes, it is. I held one. It is heavy duty. I mean, I am very weak, but still, it was like I'd say 3 to 4 pounds for the base.
Oh wow! Okay.
This is not big box level merchandise. This is, and I didn't come on here to be like a hype beast about Galaxy's Edge. But it really, like, the merchandise was great. The creatures, like even those the Tauntaun, it's not that you push a button and it does stuff. You pet it and it makes noises. Like, there's all these weird technological applications to all the merch.
Were you able to turn on the lightsaber? Were you able to actually?
Yes, I was.
And what was that like? What like, that's like a big thing. Like, how does that work?
Is there a blade coming out of that or something?
Yes. So part of the experience is that you choose your kyber crystal and you kind of personalize your own saber. So we didn't do any of that. We only heard about it. But I held the sample one, and I was trying to, be in a professional setting and not be thrilled. but I held it. It's exactly what you want it to be. You push the button, the noise happens, it illuminates. Like it's the full experience.
And do they go into pricing?
They did not go into pricing. I've heard a lot of figures that I've been trying to pin down because there are these high-end legacy lightsabers, which are themed specifically to characters that I think are kind of more of a collectible item. And I can't nail down if the pricing that's floating around is for that or if it's for Savi's workshop, which is kind of the place that's, if I had to compare it to something, I'd compare it to the wand experience in Wizarding World, but this is so much different than that. But that's where you create it, and I can't get specific pricing on the entire finished saber. But it's what I was told was that it starts at $19.99, which is
and by that Disney meant $2,000.
Yeah.
Well, I think I showed you guys for my girlfriend's kid. I bought him for Christmas.
One, yeah.
I bought him a customized one, which is kind of what I think like what they're doing here. Completely metal, and it's got this nice illuminated saber, noise stuff, everything in it, and it looks professional on like video. It looks like he's holding a real lightsaber kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I did a bunch of research for that, and I want to say they ran between the cheapest you could get out was like $200 or something like that just for the base, full setup with sound and everything like that. They could get up to like $500, $600. And I used to wonder, because I'd see these sites on the internet, is why Disney hadn't capitalized on that yet, because it's all these private companies doing space sabers.
Yeah.
They couldn't call the lightsabers a Star Wars in it or anything, but they're all themed towards it. So I think that this is Disney pretty much doing the exact same thing, but in park, which is awesome, especially if you can build your own. But the ones I looked up were all super expensive.
Define super expensive.
Well, I mean, for me, for like memorabilia or a toy, like $300 to $500.
No, that's expensive.
Is super expensive.
That's expensive.
On the other hand, Michelle's kid absolutely loves it and carries it with him everywhere. And when I see him walking around with it, I am jealous. And I was planning on buying my own before going to Galaxy's Edge so I could wear it on my side, but I didn't know whether they'd allow it, so I might have to get one at Galaxy's Edge. We'll see.
These are not. I'm telling you right now. These won't be like $200, but they're gonna be like. I mean, maybe they will, but they could be like. I could see like 100.
Okay.
The one they already sell in there, though, those black legacy, whatever they call them.
The
ones.
sharper image ones are 150.
Right. I just want you to keep in mind the price tag for this land starts with a B.
Yeah, true.
So they want that money back, and they are absolutely going to get it back in merchandise. I mean, they're certainly going to get it at the gate.
Yeah.
No question about that. And they're going to get it in merchandising. And see, and the sneak peek you got, Carlye, was that out in California?
Yes, we traveled from San Francisco and then we went to WDI in Glendale and then to the park. But I do want to mention, because I have had so many emails with PR being like, but how much is the lightsaber? That the final thing that they told me was that the Savi's experience is where you make your own lightsaber, that'll start at $19.99. And the figure that's out there, which is like $160, I'm almost positive is the legacy one. So this will be an accessible experience that is not going to totally break the bank.
That's good.
Okay. I'll take your word for that.
But then again, it's like, the Kyber crystal goes in there, and then you can put the crystal in a holocron, and it'll do stuff. So you'll end up buying probably a lot more.
There'll be accessories.
Yeah.
Jedis don't upcharge. That's a shame.
So my question is, what is the blade made of, and does it go into the actual hilt?
It from what I've seen, it does not go into the hilt. It does not collapse, but it's made of what they told me was unbreakable plastic.
Okay.
So that was the big thing I was wondering, because I like their whole thing was I thought they were going to try and remove the hilt. There's the lightsabers you've been able to build before, part of the blade stays out, and they were going to try and make it so it can collapse in it. I know you can take it apart and remove the blade, but
with those solid ones, which you can actually fight with your friends and bash them against each other in like lightsaber fence, they're too rigid to like fit them down in there. Mm-hmm. So the technology doesn't exist yet.
And I like how the mention
too rigid to fit.
I like how the mention of unbreakable plastic, the mom at the table starts laughing.
I don't believe there's any such thing. I mean, those Kong toys that dogs are not supposed to be able to destroy?
Yeah.
I had a dog destroy one of those.
Yeah, I've got one inside.
A very small dog.
I've got one inside.
Also, there were a lot of words in that segment that I have no
I
idea.
know, honey. I know. God bless you. God bless you for being here. Anything else? Anything else you can tell us that we haven't asked about?
Yeah, I do want to mention that because I did not notice this from looking at all the models and the artwork, that the Resistance Forest, as it's called, which is where the Star Wars Rise of the Resistance attraction is down a pathway away from the main part of Black Spire Outpost.
Oh, really?
So there is this separation that I think will also eat some people from the fact that it's kind of has two factions to the land.
Oh, okay. That is interesting.
It's cool
Yeah.
thematically, too. So they don't have them within, like, throwing distance or fighting distance of each other. You have a First Order section and a Resistance section. That's really cool. Just
I like the idea, too, that you'd be able to travel through the land. So it's not just like you come in one open space, here I am. It's that you can go through like the traveler you're kind of supposed to be, you know. It's interesting.
I'm very excited. Carlye, you have made me even more excited about Galaxy's Edge opening. I'll get my first shot at seeing it when it opens up out in California and then again here in Orlando.
Well, when you get in the land, what are you going to do first? What's your plan of attack?
I don't know.
Merchandise.
I'm probably going to be merch.
softly crying to myself in joy.
Smuggler's Run. That's going to be next level.
I do have. Did they allude to opening time?
They did not. I sadly went on this insane trip and came back with the same information about opening day as everyone else had.
I have a feeling we're going to hear that in the next few days.
Yes, I agree.
Because there's no way they did this with, what was it, 20? They chose 20 journalists.
Yeah, somewhere between 10 and 20, I think. Yeah.
And to come in and get this very exclusive sneak peek. They're not doing this. They're building up to a crescendo here. So they're getting all this information out. They're getting everybody excited about it. And my guess is in the next, I don't know, 2 to 3 days, maybe 4. This week, we're going to have a date on Anaheim.
Was the ground done? Was like the ground paved?
Oh, God, his
So
obsession with the ground.
It was, but here's what's funny is that, so one of the things they told us was that they sourced like original droid wheels to drag them through the land to make it look like droids had been there. So it's the type of Disney thing where they put in so much effort to make something look worn over the years.
Yeah.
So it was, but it looked like it wasn't.
We can always tell how far along something is by when the ground gets paved, because it's always kind of the last thing to do before the big stuff starts.
There was ground.
Yeah, so that's why
Wow.
I'm like,
Well, we know that, we know it's going to be in June. We've gotten enough information to tell us that Galaxy's Edge and Disneyland is going to probably open in June. And I think this week the waiting will end. We will know what the date is, at least for Galaxy's Edge out in California. Hopefully we'll find out.
they're saying in the chat that this Thursday we're going to find out. They're saying there's a shareholder meeting, and like a bunch of different people just said there's something about. They said that they were going to announce it during that.
Yeah, the
okay.
shareholder meeting's on the 7th.
All right, well then, there it is. That was. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm excited.
I just figured
got
I didn't know that. I'm just when I heard that there were journalists being allowed in.
Yeah.
Like, well, they're not doing that for, hey, here's an update. They're trying to build hype and awareness. And if you're going to do that, the next thing you got to do is follow it up with something. And the only thing they can follow that up with is a release date. So, well, Carlye, thank you so much. I hope when it opens, you will come back on and talk to us some more about it. And
Of course. And if you guys or anyone else has any questions, feel free to hit me up on social media. I know too much about Galaxy's Edge now. I have too much information in my brain. So if you have any questions about any details, I'm happy to answer.
how can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Carlye Wisel. There's a lot of letters in it. It's spelled CarlyeWisel, or on my website, carlyewisel.com.
And we'll make sure it links to that in the show notes page. Again, Carlye, thank you so much for your time. This was fantastic. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you.
Take care now.
Goodbye.
Bye. Okay, yeah, no, I'm even more hyped.
Yeah.
I'm even more hyped.
I mean, I was excited, and then like I don't know, knowing that's like they've been in
Well,
there, you could reach out and touch it soon.
And just seeing the merch and the food, and it's like, okay, it's getting real now.
Yeah.
It's getting real.
I hope to base an entire week's worth of outfits out of that merchandise shop alone.
So very, very, very excited. Very excited. And final story this week. This is kind of maybe should have saved Star Wars for the last one, because this is kind of a week. But I thought it was worth noting that the Hilton and the Waldorf Astoria at Bonnet Creek have been added to the list of official hotels of Walt Disney World, which means they now get extra magic hours. They get a lot of the perks that go along with being an official hotel of Walt Disney World. And I'm going to tell you, they're phenomenal hotels.
Yeah.
The Hilton and the Waldorf are phenomenal hotels. And I've said it before on the show. I'll just throw it out there for folks. If you're, a lot of people go to the Hilton first to look for pricing. And they just think the Waldorf, not possible. I'm not, it's going to be too expensive. The number of times that a room at the Waldorf has been less expensive than a room at the Hilton would blow you away. Like all hotels, they yield their rates as the hotel fills, so the Hilton fills up right away. And so those rates go really high, but because people hear that Waldorf name, they shy away from it, and then lo and behold, here's a room for $300 a night at the Waldorf, and it's $450 a night over at the Hilton. I'm just estimating here. But so be sure, if you're going to price them out, be sure to check out both. But I thought it was interesting that they had decided to add these hotels as official hotels. Again, that Hilton is huge. That's a massive, massive Hilton. And the Waldorf isn't exactly small either. I think this is about Galaxy's Edge. They know they're going to have capacity issues.
Big time.
Once that opens, and they need places to put people. I know they've already done that with a lot of other hotels in the area that have become official hotels of Walt Disney World that Disney pushes actively. They want you to book them because it does take some of the pressure off of their occupancy issues at some of the more popular hotels, like especially the values and moderates, always the first ones to fill up. So, and I forgot to mention this in the Star Wars piece. I'm so sorry. An amazing thread on our Theme Parks, Attractions, and Strategies forum. Everything you want to know about Galaxy's Edge. We'll make sure there's a link to that in the show notes page, but you can find that on our Theme Parks, Attractions, and Strategies forum. Fantastic stuff in that thread. I've been looking through it and then talking to Carlye. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll wear an outfit. Maybe I'll buy something. I don't know.
Yeah, at bare minimum, you'll get to mock Rhino and I as we wear outfits.
Oh, my thing is too is like you're gonna be an outfit. Everybody's gonna be an outfit. When you'll be in your regular clothes and be like, oh, I want to be in an outfit. Like that's the idea. I think
I'm
they're going for.
underdressed. I didn't bring my cloak.
I don't want to be in like my garbage T-shirts that I always normally wear and my stupid shorts when I'm walking around in this Star Wars land. And
I'm glad you finally admitted that your shorts are stupid and your T-shirts are garbage.
All right, so that'll do it for the news. Let's move on to Rapid Fire. We'll start with you, Mr. Boda.
Okay, renovation permits filed for Epcot entrance changes. Basically, we all know about we talked about this recently, the pictures up for those watching. The entrance changes, moving those
getting rid of the graveyard.
Yeah, the war memorial that was in the front of it is going to be pushed out beyond the gates, and then all of these various foliage, topiaries, and stuff like that is going in. A notice of commencement was filed yesterday. Those typically happen right before construction begins. They last for a year unless there's another date otherwise noted. This one didn't have one. So this notice lasts until March 4th of 2020 and describes site work, demo, hardscape, and landscaping as part of Project G. So the work is to be done on the park's north pathways. So you can pretty much infer that this is for the entrance area, moving those Leave a Legacy stones, opening up some new pathways and everything like that. That's part of Project G, but we can probably assume that we'll get more notices and more permits and plans coming up with later additions as part of that same project. But it looks like this one's pretty much just for that entrance area.
So this is all by way of saying that for the next year, the entrance to Epcot's going to be a cluster. But I will gladly deal with that to get rid of those damn Leave a Legacy monolith, ugly, stupid things that are there now.
How will we remember the heroes who fought in the Tomorrowland Wars? That's what I think every time I go through it.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Charles.
Finley did ask me if those people had died once before.
Oh, my, yeah.
She thought it was like cemetery kind of thing.
Well, 'cause
I said,
that's what it looks like.
No, honey, they paid to have their faces put on there.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Well, some of them statistically.
Right.
Yeah, well, all right. Corey.
All right, so we got new cabanas opening up at the Stormalong Bay Pool at the Yacht and Beach Club. Guests can take part in this starting on March 17th, and there'll be a soft opening on March 16th. It's for up to 6 guests, and the prices are $199 for a half day and $299 for a full day.
Wow.
But-
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
What is it with these people in overpriced cabanas? First they were in Tomorrowland. Now they're building them out the store. Are you kidding me? $300 for a full day in a cabana. They got nerve. They got real nerve.
What do you get?
So
You better get a happy ending
Jeez.
at those prices.
Champagne, hopefully.
So coming up in October to February, next October to next February, the prices are reduced to $149 for a half day and $249 for a full day. And it's with 6 people, so you can split the cost that way.
Not if you're a family and you are the mother and father of 4 children.
This is true. This is true. But you have an entire cast member devoted to serving you all day. It's really, really beautiful. You got 2 Chase lounge chairs, a side table inside the cabana, and there's also a love seat and 2 side chairs and 2 side tables. So the amenities include cocktail service, a mounted TV, complimentary sunscreen, a food tray, mini refrigerator stocked with soda and water, towels, a lock, and chargeable outlets.
I mean, look, I love poolside cabanas. I love doing them. But I'll tell you, I think that price point at $300 is absurd. Is absolutely absurd. $200, yeah. $225, okay, for a full day. $300, amazing things better happen in that cabana.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Amazing things better happen in that cabana. I'm trying to keep my rating okay here, so I'm not going any further than that. Thank you, Corey. Rhino.
So mine is that the Plaza restaurant at Magic Kingdom has extended their breakfast service indefinitely. And originally this was scheduled to this started last November. It was supposed to end in January. It had been extended through June, but now if you look at the 180-day booking thing, it's going through August 28th. So it looks like it's here to stay.
Awesome. I was talking to Craig. I have no idea what you said.
It was about a Plaza breakfast. Yeah.
So,
You won't want to listen to mine either, so talk to Craig.
No, I think he will want to listen to yours.
No, yeah.
Disney
no.
Junior's Fancy Nancy is coming to Disney parks in May. So if you don't know who Fancy Nancy is,
I don't.
Kevin's
Okay.
not here.
her name is Nancy Clancy, and she's a vibrant young girl from Disney Junior's animated series, Fancy Nancy.
oh, see how that happened?
So this is happening just in time for the 30th anniversary celebration of Disney's Hollywood Studios, which will be on May 1st, also Taylor's birthday. Guests will find Nancy at a brand new character greeting location in an animation courtyard in front of her backyard playhouse. And she will also be joining other Disney friends over at the Hollywood and Vine. You know, the character...
Yes, the
meal.
bastion of quality.
So she'll be at Disneyland Resort later in May, located just outside the Disney Junior Dance Party in Hollywoodland at Disney California Adventure Park. So for those of you who are fans of Fancy Nancy, or you have children that are, I think this sounds kind of exciting. Mine are too old now, so oh well.
Well, I think we'll send Rhino to cover it so that Fancy Nancy can meet Nancy Pantsy.
I don't care for Nancy at all.
I don't like
I don't
looking
like.
at her.
Yeah, she looks like an oversized porcelain doll.
Yeah,
and
that's.
Her
it's-
animation is weird.
It reminds me of that
Yeah.
episode of Seinfeld where he's got the doll that looks like his mother.
Oh, yes!
Like, I don't want to look at it. Like,
All right, thank you, Julie. Craig.
Okay, it opened, I believe, sometime last week while I was on vacation, but that the sneak preview of Dumbo and the Fun Dumbo photo op is now happening over at what's the name of it right now? It's Walt Disney Presents is where it's at. And yeah, so if you want to take your picture with a life-size Dumbo and then watch a sneak preview, get on over there before it opens on March 29th.
I took that photo and I watched that preview.
Is
He
he
looks
less
creepy.
terrifying in person?
I'm terrified.
Well,
of it.
It's just a big fake little statue that you can't really get too close to.
Yeah,
But the preview, I will tell you,
He's beautiful.
I was going to see the movie because obviously I'm going to see the movie. But the preview I watched, I was like, oh, I almost started crying while I was watching it, and I was like, this is good. I'm really excited for it. I got really excited watching it.
I'm just hearing the song. I'm like,
Yeah, the baby mine.
I love him. I think he's adorable.
I wish his eyes were bigger like the one in the movie.
Just think he's poorly lit, and looks like he's satanic Dumbo. But it is what it is. All right, thank you, Craig. Before we wrap up, I want to just talk about the Skyliner, because it's soon to be a part of our world, and it's a lot of discussion going on about it. And as I said, I've been just trying to pay more attention to disboards.com, and was pointed to a great thread over there on the Disney Skyliner. This is over on our Disney Rumors and News forum. And so let's talk about some things that we absolutely know. The gondolas will not have air conditioning. They will have a ventilation system along with sun-reflective windows. This is what they say in this thread is the expected capacity number. 3 bus loads, roughly 180 people. The gondola system will take that in about 5 minutes.
Okay, I was like, not per one.
Yes.
Just a full bus. A full bus is 60 to 70 people. Capacity is rumored to be roughly 4,000 to 5,000 people per hour each way. The testing that they've seen is showing a gondola leaving the station every 10 seconds. And over 300 cabins will comprise the gondola system. Now, some people have asked about whether or not there are going to be seats. Well, there are seats, but they're benches. Some people are asking about whether or not you're going to get your own gondola. I think they're going to fill them. I think, you the same way you don't get your own bus, you don't get your own monorail, you don't get your own boat, you're not getting your own gondola. Unless your group is large enough to fill one. The Skyliner Stations will be located at Caribbean Beach, Pop Century and Art of Animation, Epcot Station, Hollywood Studio Station, and Riviera Station, which is the upcoming Disney Vacation Club resort over by the Caribbean Beach. But apparently Riviera is getting its own station, separate from Caribbean Beach, I'm guessing? Or I thought they were the same one.
I thought they were the same.
Okay. Because the Caribbean Beach one, it says this is the main hub, which includes storage and maintenance as well as connection to all 3 gondola lines.
Yeah, there are 2 buildings there. I think one is just a boarding depot, and the other one has a maintenance area. They've got 2 buildings right in that area. So
Sred has a lot of the concept art and some videos on it. The more I hear, the more I see. I don't know if excited is the word. Intrigued. I still have grave concerns about what happens when these things break down. They're going to break down. They're going to break down. Let's just be honest. Not because Disney's incompetent, but because crap happens.
It happens on the monorail all the time.
Right.
You
Yeah.
stop for no reason, or for a reason. But I mean, I'm sorry to say, I don't want to ride them. I don't want to ride them until they've been going for like years.
I was at Hollywood Studios and they were doing the test. They were zipping along, and I was just thinking, like, if something happens in one of them along the line and it's not at a connecting station, like, none of them can go. It's not just like, oh, we can separate the line. It's like none on that line from the beginning to the other side can continue to rotate. If something, somebody has an emergency or something like that inside of it, and they can't get them to the station or something, it's going to cause them all to stop. But it's also a little bit lower to the ground than I expected it to be, too. I don't know if anybody else knows that or if it's just because it's coming into Hollywood Studios and lowering to get to the platform. But it looks like it's essentially a fire truck. The ladder goes up. The top of the ladder can reach the gondola easily.
I was thinking about the rescue scenario. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking about the sweating scenario and the no AC and being inside of one of these with other people. I'm so sorry. I can't. It's like riding a school bus.
I have to assume, just, given Disney's history, and I think it's fair to say this, I have to assume that they factored that in.
I used to go to Colorado a lot with my family. I've ridden gondolas at a ski resort in the winter. I've ridden them in the summer. And even though it's Colorado, it can get very warm in the summer still. As they're moving, they move quick enough that they are getting ventilation. It's not the same as AC. It's definitely not the same as AC. That riding in a car in Florida. You can throw your window down and you can still be sweating while the window's down. It's not the same as having it on full blast.
What's the capacity for one gondola?
I'm not sure.
I don't think they said yet. It honestly, when you get closer to them, it looks like it could be like, I said like 15, and my friend was like, no, that looks like too many people. So I'm
going to guess. I'm going to, from the pictures, I'm guessing the capacity is going to be about 12.
Yeah. He compared it to the size because he said to him it looked like the interior of when you go on the Hogwarts Express at Universal, and he's like, so how many people would fit in that? Sitting down, it would be like 8, and then standing, you'd have like 2 or 4 more. My thing is, so it was windy. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. I saw on Twitter one of them was still, and it was windy, and it was swinging, and so that's my fear because I'm afraid of heights and stuff like that. So you are going to be able to feel the motion a little bit more than I think people anticipate.
It's natural though. You feel like even when you go over stations, you feel a backward swing. If you've ever been skiing once on any type of chairlift system, you do get a little back and forth swing. You could get side to side swing. As they're weighted down, it's not going to swing as much.
It's 10 apparently too. They said in the chat.
Okay, yeah. It's not like those things. Even if it comes to a full stop and we somehow have hurricane winds come out of nowhere and start blowing you, it's going to swing, but it's not going to take you upside down and all around like that.
Saying just, I have to give Disney the benefit of the doubt on this, that all this stuff has been factored in. They know it's Florida. Yeah. They know it's hot in the summer. They know we get storms and lightning. And just because they haven't released specific safety, I think it would go a long way to easing people's minds if they would release, and maybe they haven't, I just haven't seen it, but release okay, these are the safety precautions in place here.
Sometimes that can have an opposite effect, though, because if you list every safety precaution, they take precautions against stuff that might never happen. When these things, there are a bunch of different fail-safes that go into it. So if they come out and say, oh, we're doing this so that we don't get struck by
and I'm
lightning,
not saying that. I'm saying
scare people.
I'm saying, address the switch, Charles. Julie has to leave. You almost had it.
Forgot how circles work.
Thank you, Julie. Kiss to the kids.
Nice to meet you too.
I'm not talking about listing every safety precaution, but let's take a look at the ones people are most worried about: lightning strikes, breakdowns, wind. Start reassuring people with, we factored this in. This is what we're doing. This is what you need to know about our gondola system. I think it really is, because this is the big thing. This is the big, when you talk about the gondolas, this is the first thing out of most people's mouth. I'm intrigued, but I'm nervous, or I'm scared, or what Julie just said, it's going to have to be running for years before I get on one of these.
Ryan Teets is in the chat, and he's saying that they said that they can detach the car from the cable separately. So if there is an incident, you remove the one car, and the other cars can keep going. So I'm assuming they'll have a safety vehicle, fire engine, whatever. They can come out, pull it down, and you keep going.
I don't know that doesn't make me more nervous.
I know, and that's the
these-
part where I'm like, that's not comforting. But there's another point in here too. We're talking about that ventilation and how hot it's going to be. A lot of people are saying like, you're not in it for very long. These distances that we're talking about traveling, like Caribbean Beach into Hollywood Studios, is probably not even a mile on the line. And so you're going to get in, and if they're going as fast as they are, you're going to be out of it in 2 minutes, I guess.
Just to clarify on the detach thing, it's the reason they can detach is they all detach. That's how the line's still moving at its normal speed. When gondolas come into the station, they detach and they move around slowly.
As long as they don't detach in the middle of a lightning and windstorm and crash me to the ground, killing everybody.
They've been used for years and years and years and years other places. That's a lot of what people that are afraid of it still don't understand is this isn't new technology.
I know.
But it's hard because it's new for Disney fans probably, and that is the tough part. I mean, anyone's afraid of things they haven't experienced. I used to be afraid of chairlifts until I finally started getting used to them, and now
is that what's next for us? We're going to have chairlifts from the Magic Kingdom to the resorts.
Have them from the bottom of Blizzard Beach to the top of.
I don't care for it one bit. But to go off Craig's point though, my concern is that technology at Disney runs, I feel like, sometimes longer and faster and is more used than a lot of technology in the rest of the, in major cities like New York or Los Angeles maybe or something, but it's like it'll always be going all the time with always people on it. And that part too makes me, it's like what you said. Anything new makes you nervous too, but.
Well, I have a feeling in the next 8 weeks, all these questions are going to be answered. We're going to know it. We're going to be on it. We're going to say it.
When do you think they're going to open?
I feel like April. I feel like April, May timeframe. It's going to open. I really do.
I'm telling you, if there was many on the line going at the speed that they've been going on a consistent basis, I'm assuming they're testing them with those water barrels that are supposed to be like the human equivalent of people or whatever. And it's working. Why wouldn't you open it?
Well, it's going to be like any roller coaster or anything else. It has to pass a certain amount of hours testing, and I'm assuming because of the length of the line and the amount of gondolas on there, each gondola will probably have to undergo so much testing on the line, and it'll all have to run over so many hours. So it could be a very long testing phase. It could be shorter if they're really pushing it to the max, but that's where a lot of these things happen when they're making last minute changes, construction to stations, like on roller coasters, going in fixing some aesthetic things. Then it might break up the testing, and that will put them behind on it. So it does look like they're moving at a great pace, so that it will definitely open on time for their time frame of fall, if not sooner.
I wonder how long it's going to be before Caribbean Beach, Art of Animation, and some of these other resorts start charging a premium because they are quote unquote on the Skyliner. Same. That's what happened with that's the case with the monorail resorts. They're all more expensive than their counterparts in most cases. I wonder if that's going to happen, particularly with Caribbean Beach and Art of Animation. Riviera's DVC, so it's a little different.
Do you wonder if that's going to happen or when that's going to happen?
When.
That seems like...
No, it's not an if.
Yeah.
It's Disney we're talking about, so of course it's going to happen.
10 minutes after they run it and it doesn't explode. It's immediately just...
Well, I am excited to see it. I have a lot of concerns, but again, I feel like I've got to give Disney the benefit of the doubt and say that the smart people are working on this, and
I'll leave
I'm
you
not
with,
one of them. So
I had this thing I remember very specifically when I was younger, and I had the thought again when I moved here, and it was the monorail. I was on the monorail, and I was going over right before you go into the Contemporary, and I remember I'm afraid of heights, and I remember being on that, and my mom's like, "Oh no, you're on the monorail. Nothing will happen here." And I remember being against, looking out the window and, being like, "Oh, no, don't get too close because we could fall out." And her saying no. And then I think, man, all those doors popping open lately and all these things falling off of it, if I just think back to, that kid who's like, it'll be okay here. Yeah,
you can always think the worst, but again, they are super, super safe. I am super excited about this. I don't stay on property a lot. I mean, when we are for work, but not personally. This is something like, if I was to stay on property, I really love the appeal of this. Like, if I was on a budget, I would definitely think about like Pop Century. If we're talking, that's going to have the lowest price point, just to be able to ride these around. I just love the entire concept of this. I hope that it will be a thing where they can allow guests to ride it as much as possible, and not try to limit it for people staying at the hotels or on that line. Because I can only imagine what it's going to be like, going into Hollywood Studios when you're on that final approach through the parking lot and you're looking and you have this perfect above all of the cars and all the level view of the park. You're getting those views that you don't really get that many places. Yeah. So it could be cool.
And it's also going to make it, especially if they can significantly reduce bus capacity, it's going to make driving around property a little bit easier.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Anything that gives people another thing to do and another way to get from one place to another is going to make everything else better, too.
Yeah.
And, for traffic flow, that's true, but also for just it being interesting, just visually. I like the idea of a bunch of different ways for people to come into the park, so that whether you're in a car on the monorail or on the Skyliner and you're approaching, you're watching other people going into the parks in different forms of transportation, and it gives it like this lively and maybe a little bit more futuristic appeal. Just a bunch of different forms of transportation all running at the same time is cool to me. Boats, monorail, Skyliner.
Well, I think we'll find out sooner rather than later. But, all right, that is going to do it for our show for this week, folks. We hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be back with you again next Tuesday with another edition of the Diz Unplugged. Thanks for being with us. And remember, stay out of the damn lakes. Have a great week. Okay.
Bye.